Hey everybody, this is Brent and welcome to Brent's Crossroads. All right, recently on Royal Caribbean Cruise on the Serenade of the Seas, one of our port stops was Taino Bay, which is in Puerto Plata in the Dominican Republic. And it's not open to the general public. It's an exclusive cruise port, and it's mostly used by Royal Caribbean, Virgin, Norwegian, and others, while on the other part of Puerto Plata is Amber Cove, which is used primarily by Carnival and its family of ships. So Taino Bay opened its doors in December of 2021. So this is a fairly new cruise port, and you could tell by looking at it. Everything still looked new. This is still an active port, as you could see by the Chinese shipping containers that were on the right as we were walking toward the entrance here. And that Taino Bay sign, a lot of people always kind of hung around it. And so I was able to get pictures on the way out. This was a very, very busy cruise day. There were 3 ships in port. And as you go through the entrance, you come into this huge courtyard. There's a couple stands and a fountain. I didn't take a lot of footage going in because with 3 ships, we had to hurry up to get back to this spot because the pool and the lazy river here in Taino Bay is free. So if you want to get a shady spot and if you want to get a lounger, you need to rush off the boat and you need to get down there early. Because you see, we got there early and a lot of the chairs were already taken by the time we got back to this back corner. Because a lot of people will stop on the front part, and we took off toward the back. A lot, you could tell it's new because a lot of the palm trees are short. They're not very tall. We were able to find a couple of loungers and some palm trees to put the loungers under to get some shade. Found kind of a secluded area of the pool. There's hammocks. There's part of the lazy river. There's lots and lots of bars around to drink at. There's some beautiful views of the ships. And as we go over this side, we're going to head toward the River of the Gods, which is the lazy river, which is also a free activity. Here's the entrance to the lazy river. It's the River of Death. Where it tried to kill me a couple times, and we will talk about that later when we get to other parts of the lazy river. It's a nice attraction, a nice feature. It gets busy. Sometimes there's a line to get to the inner tubes. There's some water features in it, and then like any other cruise port, it is full of shops. Your chocolate shops, tobacco shops, souvenir shops, you name it. If you can find it in any other cruise port, you're probably going to find it here. Now we're going to kind of stroll through. Like I said, I didn't take any footage walking in. So this is from the back going back out because we were in a rush to get to the seats to make sure we got a lounger. It's just a lot of basic, your general souvenir shops, beach sail shops. Come over here, we're going to peek past the vegetation, take another look at the inner tubes and where the lazy river is. The pathways through the port here are really wide. They did design it, and it is made well to hold a lot of people. So even though there were 3 ships in port, I never felt like it was really crowded because everybody spreads out. It gets busy near the front of the beginning because you have to go all the way to the back to get out to the taxis and to where the excursions meet. There's a nice little sign talking about the River of the Gods, which is also the name of the lazy river. Be sure to say your prayers before you get on because it will try to kill you. Bluestone, that's a jewelry shop. You also have your jewelry shops, your pharmacy, for those of you that have quote unquote prescription drugs that you need to pick up while you're in the island. Del Sol, and I think it's a law that Del Sol has to be in every single port. And there was a Hard Rock Cafe if you want to get your Hard Rock branded Taino Bay, Dominican Republic, Puerto Plata t-shirts. Yeah, as you can see, it doesn't seem to be crowded at all. There's not that many people, it seems. Said 3 ships, but between people staying on the boat and excursions, and as you can see, it's a spread out area here on the map. And you will also note that there are as many bars as anything else. Lots of seating, lots of vegetation. Okay, as we're headed to this bridge, the lazy river goes underneath here, and it was underneath here that the River of the Gods attempted to kill me. It tried to hit me constantly against the side and knock me off of my inner tube. Luckily, I didn't have my phone or camera going at the time because I probably would have dropped it in the attempt on my life. Here's one of the big bathrooms. They're big, colorful, easy to find. So you can tell it's very, very modern and was built specifically just to be a closed-off cruise port, not open to the public. Huge seating areas outside the bars. There's lots of covered seating when you're at the bars and restaurants. For in the summer when it gets hot and very, very sunny. Then you'll have some random booths that have liquor because there's not enough bars apparently. So you also have to have the ones that get your pineapple booze and your coconut filled booze and up here on the left, there is another pool. This pool now it's on the right. It fills up really fast as well because that is the closest one to the ships. So people will run there first and then people will run back to the back. But if you start off going to the back, you have a better chance of finding a lounger. And also, there's not as much shade up by the pool, the front pool. So you will probably find shade and a lounger. As you can see, there's hardly any trees around it. So my tip is you're better off going back to the back right at the beginning when you disembark from your ship and get into Taino Bay. Once you get back toward the front part, you have the big ape. It's a big photo op area for cruisers. There he is again. It's just kind of a weird thing. It's a nice picture spot. It's one of those places that gets crowded early on. If you go back by it later in the day, there's usually not as many people. So that's my tip number 2. Yeah, even though there's 3 ships, as you can see, it's pretty much dead out in the walkways. But if you were to get underneath like the Blue Parrot and some of the other restaurants and bars where it's covered, a lot of those seats are filled and taken. I was disappointed in myself. I didn't get over to introduce myself to Mr. Rum because I was very interested in what Mr. Rum's quest would have been. Because if the quest would have been for rum, I would have been all about it. So tons and tons of seating. 'Cause, like even though some of this isn't even really outside of a restaurant, there's like benches, there's covered areas, there's just seating tables all over. Standing bars that are covered. You know, it's a port. You kind of have to have your little bar with some swings in it because I believe that's law too, port law. Kind of like having a Diamonds International or a Del Sol. So we're headed back toward the ship this direction. Up here in this one tree, there were some different birds, and there was a rope that they would perform on for people every so often. As we're walking back out to the right, where that roof is at, there were some small cages that had some different birds in it that they would let out and perch every once in a while. So all the bars and everything you have to pay for. The pool is free. The lazy river is free. You can buy excursions on the boat as you do your usual shore excursions through the ship, or when you're out in the entrance area and the entryway, there's a couple of kiosks that sell excursions as well. Anytime we've been this isn't our first time in Puerto Plata. The other two times we've been, it was on Carnival boats, so we were at Amber Cove, and this wasn't the first time going to Taino Bay. This is a much nicer area. There's some cool things about Amber Cove because you have some of the Jurassic Park stuff that's there, some ties to it. But this is really nice. It's still new, nice area, well designed. And of course, as we go out to the ship, we have to exit through the duty free shop. Please exit through the gift shop. There's the Taino Bay duty free. There's where we came through. So there's a couple kiosks out here. Oh, the Diamonds International. So we are not in violation of port law. Here's the fountain for the middle. I wondered if this was wide open, if they ever brought any other like food vendors or souvenir carts or something during a busier period. Because this cruise was in January, and I wondered if the fall or summer, if they had more things here in this courtyard, because it just seemed like a big wasted space area with these 3 or 4 small kiosks and the fountain, and then absolutely nothing else. See you soon. Until next time. So here on the right and left, you'll see these tables with the signs, and those will be where you could book excursions. There's another excursion desk. As you can see later on in the day as you come out, you can see the Taino Bay sign. There's nobody around. So on your way back to the ship, it's generally a good time to get your pictures. All right, overall, I enjoyed my time in Taino Bay. I recommend it. If it's your first time, I recommend. I would stay around and examine and check out the port. And maybe next time you come back, do an excursion. It's worth the pools are nice. The lazy river is fun when it's not trying to kill you. And then the rest of it's a typical port. So if you've been cruising before, you know what to expect. But nice place. Highly recommend it. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you out at the Crossroads. Bye.